Alright, you guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm sure you're all wondering what we're going to talk about today. And as you probably guessed, it's going to be something educational and mental health related. Because, well, that's what this channel is all about. At least what I try to make it about. Hopefully I'm doing a good job at that. I like to think I am. I'm certainly trying very hard to do so. So today's video, I figured I would do something a little bit different. It's so easy to focus on all the negatives of being mentally ill, right? I mean, there's so many to choose from. If I had to make a video on all the negatives, it would probably be about 45 minutes long. And I'm sure even if I cut it down and only did maybe the top 4 or 5, it would probably still be about 20 minutes long. And let's face it, I know that you guys don't want to see any more 20-minute videos on this channel, right? Then again, most of my other older videos are also 20 minutes long, so maybe you do want another longer video on all the negatives of being mentally ill. You'll have to let me know down below in the comments if you want that, though. Not a mind reader. Alright, so let's look at some of the positives. Alright, so, positives of being mentally ill. Like we said, the list of negatives is basically never ending. However, trying to come up with positives from some of the negatives, well, I don't want to say it's easier than it seems, but at least I think it can be done. So I've come up with 3 off the top of my head. There are 3 that are pretty high ranking positives, really good positives, right? So let's go on to number 1. Number 1 is going to be being able to better relate to people's pain, suffering, and their mental illness or their disorders and other medical issues that they deal with in general. Now, obviously, I don't know everything about everything. Some people say I don't know anything about everything, which I kind of feel is true. But at the same time, when you go through so much nonsense, so many hardships and years of symptoms and just not knowing what was wrong or not thinking anything was wrong, which I spent a lot of my time doing, as a personality disorder in general, I mean, they're pervasive and they're persistent over a long period of time. And I can remember showing symptoms of BPD since I was 18 years old. I'm turning 25 in 2 weeks, so do the math. It's been a while. But that was the first time in my life that I remember experiencing the fear of abandonment with my ex, well, my then boyfriend, and the jealousy and the paranoia of, oh, he was talking to this guy in my math class who kind of came out to us as being in the closet. He saw us at lunch every day and thought we were great and this and that. I said, cool, whatever. I don't even remember this kid's name. Now, granted, that was like over 7 years ago now, but still, I hated this kid. I resented this kid. I thought this kid was going to steal my man from me. And that's where it all began. But this isn't a story about that. I've already discussed that in previous videos, I believe, and if not, I guess I'll have to do a story time sometime on the podcast or something for that. But either way, I've been experiencing these symptoms since 18. I was depressed basically since 7th grade, middle school. I started self-harming in 8th grade, as I've discussed in previous videos. That went on for probably all the way through 9th grade or 10th grade, I forget. So it's been a long time, right? So the idea of having such a long period of time and really such a short period of time at the same time is really that you go through so much in such a short period of time in the grand scheme of things that when you meet other people that have also gone through hell, it really puts it in a better perspective for you, and it really does allow you to better relate to them, and you realize that you're not alone. Now, I'm not really the kind of person that's ever run around saying, I feel so alone and nobody understands me. I do feel like people don't understand me, but I know that I'm not the only person with BPD or depression or anything else. So certainly there are a lot of people who do think that way. They think they're the only one out there with this that feels the way they do. But obviously that's not true. But me personally, I've never really been that kind of person to cling to that idea of I'm alone, nobody understands this. But I really do think being able to better relate to people and the things they've gone through, because obviously, as you know, as from people without mental illness, we get to hear all sorts of things that apparently we're just doing wrong, we're neglecting. If we just did some of these simple things, we would be fixed. How many times have you had somebody tell you that you just need to be more positive? Just have to get outside and exercise more. You need more vitamins and medicine and get off your medicine. Obviously that's affecting with your head, right? And of course, everyone's favorite. You don't look bipolar. Are you sure? I think you needed a second opinion. Because you don't look crazy. Yeah. How many times have we heard all that? Too many to count, at least in my book. So, we're used to hearing about all sorts of things that we're just inherently doing wrong, right? But when you hear about people who have been through similar situations, it's really eye-opening. And I feel like I learn from every person, every story I read online or watch videos of. There's always something to learn, right? And understanding other people and what they're going through is very, very important. So, definitely recommend really considering that a lot of people are going through hell. A lot of people are really suffering, have been through all sorts of stuff, and that you really should keep an open mind to that and try to better understand the situation. Number 2 of my top 3 things I can think of being positives or benefits of being mentally ill. I would say number 2 should probably be that at times I can be more creative, I can be more assertive, less anxiety ridden. I'm able to better function, better communicate. And by better communicate, I basically mean never stop talking. And of course, a lot of this for me has to do with hypomanic episodes. Obviously, because those are all symptoms of mania. But, at times I can be really creative and just have all sorts of great video ideas. And I talk to friends nonstop and want to make plans every second of every day because I'm just bursting with energy. I just talk really, really fast. I don't shut up, like, ever. All these sorts of things, like realizing that there are times that I can be just, I don't know, helpful. I can get stuff done around my house and clean up and just not be a bum and be really hard to get out of bed and, commit to plans and all these sorts of things. Go shopping. It's just a nightmare. It's so anxiety producing. It's just, I'll basically run out of half my food and drink before I better go to the store now. I can't really put it off anymore. Very guilty of that lately. It's terrible. But either way, I think the big message really should be it allows you to kind of learn more about yourself in addition to other people. But you get to learn what makes you unique. No 2 people with the same mental disorder are the same. That's another very important distinction as well, of course. And realizing that, take BPD for example. I know I've referenced this in one of the previous videos I've done on it, and where there are 9 criteria in the DSM for BPD. You need at least 5 of the 9 to meet the diagnosis criteria, to meet the criteria to be diagnosed. You need at least 5 out of 9. So if you had a 5 out of 9, 6 out of 9, 7 out of 9, 8 out of 9, and all 9 out of 9, the permutation, you get 256 different combinations of different diagnoses, different criteria patterns. 256, which basically means the chances of you running into another person diagnosed with BPD who has the exact same criteria as you across the board is exceedingly rare. Very, very rare, very hard to find someone that's going to have the exact experiences that you've had and come out the same way that you did. It's just not likely. So when we generalize things like personality disorders, when we generalize any mental disorder in general, or group of people, realizing that 256 different combinations of this diagnosis exist and persist in different people, it's really important to understand how it impacts me personally, or in this case, in the case of my friends or my family, to understand how it impacts me specifically, how my hypomania presents, how my depression presents, how my anxiety presents. It's unique to me. And as much as it'd be nice to just group it all together with everyone else's, that's not helpful. It's my individual presentation that is really what is of interest to any doctor or mental health professional, and to myself. So keeping that in mind as well is there's a lot of different ways that this can manifest, and it's really not going to be the same in two people that you come across. And finally, for number 3, I would say, in kind of a similar vein to that, understanding that there's a lot of different presentations and trying to understand how it works with me, in my mind, is also the general idea of being more self-aware of me versus the world, basically. Recognizing that the majority, if not almost a unanimous majority, of people on this planet do not fear abandonment from somebody who hasn't responded to a text message in a couple hours, or somebody who has canceled a plan all of a sudden means that they must be cheating, or they must be abandoning me for someone else, and leaving that fear of rejection behind. Now, these are obviously horrible things to have to deal with all the time, and they're always on my mind. So basically, I'm always running around looking for these situations in my friends, mostly, but in general, I'm always on edge. I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. Oh, you're my friend today, but what's going to happen by tomorrow that's going to make you never talk to me again? I've lost so many friends and so many people in my life from death or from abandonment, whatever it is. The reason's kind of irrelevant. It's just the fact that after you lose so many people in life, in 25 years of living, that it really becomes the expectation. It becomes the norm. And that's horrible. There's people, some of my friends said they've probably been to maybe 2 or 3 funerals in their entire life so far. I've probably been to 6, 7, 8 funerals. The amount of times I've been in the hospital since I was a kid for my colon problem, and then the mental hospital and all these other things. I've spent more time in hospitals and procedures and tests and surgeries by the age of 9 than I had most kids probably do until their early adulthood, at least. Unless maybe they're very accident prone or something like that. Or they have another serious medical condition that requires them to be in a hospital a lot. The point is, my experiences have made me who I am. And they set my expectations, they set my mood, they set my anger, they set everything. And it takes one tiny little thing to blow that all up. And trying to be more self-aware of that, and just in general of myself, and recognizing that most of the world, majority of the people in my world, don't experience things emotionally like I do. That the average person's probably firing at a 3, maybe a 4 on an average day. At a 6, maybe a 7 would be boiling in anger, but the whole world is falling apart, right? In my world, I'm basically always at probably a 6, just by default. Because like I said, I'm always looking for problems. I'm always looking for the next thing to go wrong. I'm waiting for my phone to ring to tell me someone else in the family just died. I'm waiting for another friend to stop responding to text messages. Whatever it is, you know, like I said, this has become the expectation because I've had so many years of this stuff happening. It's not surprising anymore. It's just waiting for the matter of time that it will take to happen. And that's no way to live life. But that's the way it is for me for now. Hopefully that will get better in time, but who's to say? But the point is, I can at least be more self-aware of that than I was at 18 when I first started showing these symptoms of jealousy and abandonment and all these sorts of things. I'm at least able to somewhat acknowledge that over time, I have become more and more affected by these sorts of issues. But that's it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed the 3 reasons I came up with for some positives of mental illness in general, definitely like the video. You can leave a comment down below if any of these resonate with you, or if you have other positive things you can think of about knowing or being someone with mental illness or who has mental illness. And definitely check out some of my other videos on the channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to keep up with more mental health educational videos like this one. And I'll see you in the next video. Adios.